Oh, we got a BGS Beckett video for you guys today. The good, the bad, and the ugly. What's going on, guys? Joe R. Vintage Pokemon. And we started that intro card with the good, the bad, and the ugly. But more realistically, it's like the pretty darn good, the terrible, and the pretty freaking awesome. With a little bit of mixed results in between. But we'll get to that in a second. The first card that we had actually sent into BGS was this Legendary Collection Reverse Holo Charizard. And dang, that looks sweet. I mean, Legendary Collection's just got the best reverse holo pattern. Man, I wish I had picked up more of these back in the day. But alas, we did get this one back during the boom of around 2020. We grabbed this in a PSA 8. I thought it was pretty clean, and I cracked and submitted to BGS. But the problem is that a common problem with these cards is scratches on that holo surface. And this card is really no exception. Right on the word fire spin there. I don't know if it's going to show up too good, but there are some scratches there that go right through the word fire spin, and that definitely kept this from getting a BGS 9. Still, I'm pretty happy with the fact that it was a PSA 8 and now it's a BGS 8.5. I kind of consider those two grades to be pretty similar to each other in terms of overall value. And the first time we sent it to BGS, because we did send it twice, it came back a BGS 8.5 the first time, but I was a little bit disappointed with it because it said the edges were 8.5, and I didn't feel like that made a ton of sense. I think maybe one edge was a little rough, maybe they thought. But you can see there the surface came back an 8, and I actually cracked it, and I tried to wipe down the card, make sure it was clean as possible, but there's nothing you can do with scratches on a card. Nothing is going to fix that to a certain extent unless you're trying to doctor it up, and that's not what we did. We just tried to wipe it down, make sure it was extra clean, and resubmit it again. And you can see this time it did come back with the edges as a 9, which I thought was more appropriate. Unfortunately, the surface could not move up even a tick, and so we're going to be stuck with the 8.5. And I want to take just a second to point out that when I do send my cards to BGS, I use Trading Card World as my middleman, and they are great for reasons that I'll get into in a moment. But I mean, I had to ship it to them, obviously. But what I like about Trading Card World is that they're stationed right there in Dallas, Texas, where BGS is located. And so they're basically just kind of walking the cards over to BGS. There's not additional shipping involved. And so they just need to get your cards, and then they kind of walk it over there, and they take care of the rest for you. And they've been great for me as a middleman when it comes to doing BGS grading. And I use them for PSA as well. They're really great all around. And I've used other grading companies before with success. Polaris is another one that I've used, and I got nothing bad to say about them. They've helped me out in the past too. But Trading Card World, I think, has been really great. Their communication is really great. And they have a physical storefront as well. So it's not like their only job is submitting cards for grading. They do other things as well, which I think is awesome. So now the bad part about our recent grading with BGS is really two bad parts, but this is the ugliest of them. Yeah, we submitted a Coro Coro Japanese Charizard. It's in English, but it is a Japanese release. We submitted this hoping to get it encased in a jumbo card holder. And Beckett, look at what they said. Look at what they said. It said, questionable authenticity. What the hell, BGS? Because not only is this a real card, it's a really clean card, and it's so hard. I actually graded this previously with PSA, and PSA did me dirty. They said it was, and honestly, I'm looking over the card. I've looked it over, I've scoured it, and there was the most closest to invisible, maybe tiniest little, like, I don't even know, impression maybe from the backside. It was literally the only thing I could find. And I was like, if they saw that and thought it deemed this card a 6, they're on something, because there's no way. There's no way. This is such a clean card. And so obviously the best place for me to submit this as a follow-up would probably be with BGS. And I bet you a Buffalo nickel this is going to come back as a BGS 8.5 or higher. Unfortunately, they didn't know if it was real or not. Not that they said it wasn't real. They didn't say it wasn't real. They said questionable authenticity, which basically means they just don't see it enough and they were too lazy, I guess, to do enough research on it. Because here's the thing that really grinds my gears is that I could go on eBay and buy a BGS graded copy of this card right now if I want it. So I know what the label is supposed to say, and I think that somebody there who's just got their hand in the modern cookie jar too much just looked at this and was like, I don't know what this is. I don't feel like doing this right now. And they just decided, whatever. They paid the $28 to have it graded, which, by the way, way cheaper than PSA to grade jumbo cards. PSA charges $50, which I think is a kind of highway robbery. At least BGS, no upcharges, and it's only $28. So I do like that about it, but come on. I'm going to pay now the same price to just send it back again because you guys didn't do your job the first time. So that's the ugly. And I even talked to the guys at Trading Card World directly, and I was like, what the hell? And they were like, hey, we agree with you. We also were like, why didn't this get graded? It's clearly a real jumbo card. So either option A, someone didn't do their job, or option B, they no longer have the appropriate size case for this, or maybe ran out of cases and just said, yeah, you know what, let's just send it back. We're not going to grade it because it is a oddly sized card. The jumbo cards that are in modern today are not the same size as this one. So I don't know what the heck the reason is, but I'm definitely going to try sending this back again in the future. And I'm going to make darn sure to paste on top of it exactly what the appropriate Beckett label is supposed to be because they've graded it previously. And that's really frustrating because I already know it's gotten graded by PSA. PSA said it was real. So it's obviously a real card. This is old too. It's not like I just bought it. I bought it years ago. Like we're talking like 10 years ago I purchased this thing. So I know this is a great copy of this card. God dang it. Okay? And so that's the deal there. Coro Coro, Jumbo, Charizard, and Beckett's just being dumb, I guess. So that's the real ugly part. The great part is that I also got back this. The Fan Club Magikarp. Yeah. I picked this up raw, and I originally had it graded with CGC, and it was the only card I had ever graded with CGC before. And then CGC was like, we're going to change our labels. And I was super pissed about that because I got the blue label for it because I liked that it was blue to match the card. And then they changed the labels, and then they said, we're not doing subgrades anymore. And I got to tell you, I just thought that was such a dumb move. And not only that, they wanted to charge for you to switch the labels, even though I had just previously had it graded with them. And I just said, I got to get this the hell out of this case. So it was graded as 7.5 by CGC. And they actually really wrecked the surface on me. Everything else was an 8. And the problem with this card was that it actually has a little bit of like an indent or impression along this bottom edge here, which you can't see from the front. Okay, you can see it like a tiny bit, but it comes back. It almost looks like it's more edge wear. It's right about there. On the back side, you can see a little bit better. It's right along the edge. It's almost like, yeah, it's right there along the white part, bottom of the card. So you can see that there a little bit. And I think in some cases, someone might call that edge wear. Other cases, they might call it a surface issue. But either way, I decided I wanted to try my hand sending this to BGS. So I cracked it out of the case myself. Made sure to clean the cards front off and back off real good. Make sure there's no dust, fingerprints, anything like that. And we sent it on its way to BGS. And damn, those are some nice grades that we got for nice subgrades. And this is really the thing that I never understood. Why would CGC, who was taking a piece of the grading pie away from PSA and BGS, why would they stop doing subs? You know, not everybody needed to do subs, but they could have kept them, and that could have been a little bit of their niche. But instead, they opted to not do it, and now BGS of the big three, BGS is the only one that does subgrades, and I think that's going to keep them around for a long time because some people really love seeing the subgrades on their cards. They want to know what are the specs on the 4 basic grading categories. And so I love that this card's got the 8-5 centering. It's very obvious. It's not centered perfectly left to right. It's not the worst. It's not the greatest. You know, the edges get an 8 because it is a clean card all the way around. And we also have corners at 8.5. It's got pretty clean corners. This one here's got a little bit of wear. You can see a little bit of whitening top left. And the surface obviously came back and ate for the reasons that we were kind of talking about. But this is the Fan Club 600-point Magikarp card. It is a really exclusive Japanese promo that you had to only get by being part of the Pokemon Card Fan Club, and you had to earn a certain amount of points in order to get this card. I think it was mailed to you, so not a lot of people really, I think, went for Magikarp, and that's why it is such a scarce. It's definitely the scarcest of all three. You've got the Porygon, the Eevee, and the Fan Club Magikarp of the 3 Vintage Fan Club cards, and this is definitely the rarest of them. And so even though this is a BGS 8 grade, this is already probably one of my top most valuable cards in my collection. This is around 5K in value, and I love this card, and I love that it has that beautiful rounded out 8 grade. If only it could get just a little tick up. You can see it hit it on the surface and the edges, which I think is fair. It's a nice BGS 8 copy now. And I do have one more grind to gear to grind to gear here with this particular card, because BGS sent it back with the wrong label. And this is where having a middleman actually is really helpful, because these guys stepped up to the plate, sent the card back to them. I did have to pay return shipping, which is a pain in the butt, but I shipped the card back to Trading Card World, and I've had this happen now with BGS a couple times. It almost seems like the more rare the card is, the more vintage and scarce the card is, the higher the likelihood that they're just going to screw it up when it comes to labeling it. Because I've had a problem when it came to my Error base set Blastoise. I had a problem when it came to this card. So, I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there. I've had a problem, obviously, with the Coro Coro Charizard. So now this card came back actually labeled as being part of the Legends Awakening set, which is the cash equivalent of Neo Revelations for the Japanese side of the cards. And so I obviously noticed that label was wrong immediately. And I was like, you guys got to fix this. And it was sent there and back in less than like 2 weeks. It was super fast. Trading Card World took care of it immediately for me. And I think it helped that they are like right there next to BGS. So they were able to walk in there and be like, fix this right now. And they did, and they sent it back almost instantly. So really great. That's where having a middleman really is the best compared to if you're sending cards out yourself, because then you have to deal with the phone calls and the nonsense. So basically, I'm paying that extra couple bucks so that they can submit the card for me, take that work out of my hands, and if something comes back wrong, blatantly wrong, like this was, it could get fixed for free and get fixed quick. And I think that's why it sometimes just pays to have a middleman like Polaris or Trading Card World. So I couldn't be happier. That's why it actually took so long for this video to get made. We're going to try again another time. They actually suggested not trying again immediately with this one, but I will try again probably in the coming year. And I will make sure to put exactly what the label is supposed to say. So I'm going to do their work for them at BGS and say, this is what goes on the label. You've sold it before or graded it before, and hopefully it gets done right. But there you have it, guys. The Japanese Fan Club Magikarp, our Reverse Legendary Collection Charizard, and Big Daddy not graded because BGS is dumb, Coro Coro Charizard. But I couldn't be happy with this. And BGS, just get it together, man, because you have a niche part of the pie. You're the only one that really does subgrades that has as large a chunk of the trading card pie as you do. So just figure it out, get a little better at what you need to do, and you'll have that piece forever. No one's going to topple you because you've been around for that long. So come on, guys. Do a better job. Anyway, Joe R. Vintage Pokemon. Tune in next time for more vintage Pokemon card content action, because that's all I really like to do here. I love talking vintage cards, and we've got some big heavy hitters in the future that I've got, but they're currently in a vault packed away, but we're going to show those off at some point in the coming year, I'm hoping. So tune in next time. More Pokemon vintage content. Joe R. out.